I'm Nathan, a 32-year-old graphic designer who traded city life for a quiet cabin on a 50-acre plot in rural Oregon 3 years ago. The land, a gift from my late aunt, was a dream come true, a pine-dotted haven with a creek running through it, perfect for my remote work and my passion for woodworking. The cabin needed work, creaky floors, a leaky roof, and outdated wiring, but I loved the challenge. The property came with a small workshop, stocked with my aunt's old tools, and a gravel access road that cut through the western edge, shared with a neighboring vineyard under a decades-old easement. Locals used the road to reach a nearby lake, and I didn't mind the occasional hiker or fisherman waving as they passed. My plan was simple: fix up the cabin, build custom furniture for clients, and live a peaceful life surrounded by nature. Trouble brewed 6 months in, when I noticed my workshop tools' expensive saws, drills, and sanders kept going missing. At first, I thought I'd misplaced them, blaming my cluttered workspace. But when my prized vintage hand plane vanished, I knew something was wrong. My neighbor, Clara, a retired botanist who owned the vineyard, mentioned seeing a beat-up red pickup truck parked near my workshop late at night. "Didn't think much of it," she said, sipping tea on her porch. "But it's been there a few times, always after dark." That set off alarms. I checked the workshop and found scuff marks on the lock and fresh tire tracks in the mud, too narrow for my SUV. Someone was stealing from me, bold as brass, on my own property. I wasn't about to let this slide, but I needed hard evidence. Confronting someone blindly could turn ugly, and the local sheriff wouldn't act on hunches. So, I bought a set of motion-activated security cameras with night vision, small enough to blend into the workshop's exterior beams. I mounted one facing the door, another covering the parking area, and synced them to my phone for real-time alerts. For days, I got nothing but footage of raccoons and windblown branches. I started to wonder if the thief had moved on. Then, at 1:17 a.m., on a rainy Tuesday, my phone pinged. The live feed showed the red pickup pulling up, its headlights off. A man in his 30s, wearing a hoodie, stepped out with a crowbar. He pried open the workshop door, slipped inside, and emerged minutes later with my cordless drill and a box of chisels. A woman waited in the truck, scanning the road like a lookout. The camera caught their license plate clear as day. My blood boiled. They were treating my workshop like their personal hardware store. I kept quiet and let the cameras roll. Over the next 10 days, they hit my place 3 more times, always between midnight and 2 a.m., taking tools worth over $2,000. I cross-referenced the license plate online. It belonged to a couple, Mike and Sarah Turner, who lived in a trailer park 10 miles away. Trash started piling up near the workshop: empty beer cans, cigarette butts, and a crumpled receipt with Sarah's name from a gas station. I had them dead to rights, but I wanted to make sure they couldn't wiggle out of it. I consulted a lawyer in town, who confirmed the workshop was well within my property line, easement or not. She suggested marking my remaining tools to prove theft if the sheriff caught them. I etched my initials and a unique symbol, a small star, onto every tool with an engraving pen and coated them with UV reactive paint, invisible unless you knew to look. I called the sheriff's office and spoke to Deputy Lopez, who reviewed my footage and agreed to set up a sting. He suggested adding a bait item to lure them back. I placed a shiny new table saw just inside the workshop door, easily visible through the window. Then I waited, heart pounding every time my phone buzzed. On a foggy Friday night, the cameras caught the pickup again. Mike pried the door while Sarah kept watch. I dialed Lopez, whispering as I watched them grab the saw. Lopez rolled in silently, his cruiser's lights off until he was right behind them. When he flipped on the spotlight, Mike dropped the saw, and Sarah screamed. They tried to bolt, but Lopez blocked the truck. "Hands where I can see them," he barked. Mike stammered, claiming they'd found the tools abandoned. Sarah, bolder, insisted the workshop was on public land and they were salvaging. Lopez wasn't buying it. He scanned the tools with a UV light, revealing my star symbol glowing bright. The receipt in the trash, with Sarah's name, was the nail in their coffin. The Turners were arrested for theft and trespassing. The sheriff searched their truck and found a stash of my tools, all marked with my initials. At their trailer, they uncovered more stolen goods, including equipment from other properties in the county. Mike and Sarah pleaded guilty to avoid a harsher sentence, paying $3,500 in restitution and fines. But I wasn't done. My lawyer helped me file a civil suit for the full value of the stolen tools, emotional distress, and security upgrades. During the case, we discovered Mike had been selling my tools online, posting photos on a local marketplace with boasts about his side hustle. Another victim, a farmer whose tractor parts were stolen, joined the suit. The evidence camera footage, marked tools, and Mike's own posts was undeniable. The judge hit them with a $10,000 judgment, forcing them to sell their truck and move to a smaller trailer. The town whispered about the tool thieves caught red-handed, and their reputation was trashed. A year later, the story took a darker turn. A state investigator contacted me, saying my case had exposed a broader theft ring targeting rural properties. Mike and Sarah were fencing stolen goods for a network that hit farms and cabins across 3 counties. Their online posts had led to other victims, and my UV-marked tools were found in a buyer's garage 50 miles away. The couple faced felony charges, landing them 18 months in prison. Their trailer was repossessed, and their kids were sent to live with relatives. My story caught the eye of a local news outlet, which ran a feature on rural crime, anonymizing me but praising the use of tech to fight back. A security firm offered me a part-time gig testing their camera systems, and I started a YouTube channel sharing tips on protecting rural homes, monetizing it with sponsorships. My cabin is now a fortress: new locks, reinforced doors, and a full camera network. I've built a furniture business, selling handcrafted tables to Portland boutiques, and the workshop hums with projects. Clara and other neighbors formed a watch group, texting alerts about suspicious vehicles. The easement road still sees traffic, but no one lingers near my workshop anymore. Mike and Sarah thought they could prey on a quiet designer, but they picked the wrong target. My aunt's land is my sanctuary, and I'll fight to keep it that way. As I carve a new chair under the pines, I smile, knowing I turned their greed into a lesson they'll never forget.